Part of what we want to do here on the channel is to give real, practical consumer advice, moving you forward and hopefully allowing you to skip past some of the trial and error that we've experienced when we started our own woodworking journeys. With that in mind, today we're going to talk about sandpaper. Generally speaking, the more you spend on sandpaper, the faster it's going to get you to your desired end result and the longer it's going to last. There's all sorts of technicalities and all kinds of jargon we could dive off into right now, but that's ultimately what it comes down to and what that extra cost provides. Speed, efficiency, and longevity. Now, some sandpapers are also way better at resisting clogging than others. We'll get to that in just a moment. So how do we get our woodworking project from a rough surface up to a finish-ready sanded surface as efficiently as possible while also getting the best bang for our buck? Well, I'm about to save you a load of time and a ton of frustration. Here is what I use now, and where I recommend you start if you're looking to do natural finishes like hard wax oil or any hand-applied finish, really. I'm not saying that you shouldn't experiment. By all means, most of us find inspiration during those times of experimentation. I'm merely saying use this as a starting point and experiment from here. You will thank me for this years down the road, I promise you. You've seen this a moment ago, but this is a net style sanding fabric material. Gio and I have both ended up using this, and there are some obvious reasons and some maybe not so obvious reasons why. First of all, this stuff does not clog. Just simply because of the way this stuff is made and the structure of these fabrics when they're woven together to create this type of thing. Secondly, and this is a huge benefit, this stuff lasts for so much longer than a standard sheet of sandpaper. The abrasive material that's used in this is actually woven into the fabric that they make this stuff from. What that means is it's constantly renewing itself as you use it. And that translates into this working just as good 20 minutes after you start as it did from the very beginning. And that continues to be the case right up until the sandpaper's worn out and is no longer usable. Another thing I love about this stuff is there's no holes to line up for dust collection. This stuff is so superior when it comes to dust collection, and for that alone, it's worth the extra money that it costs to buy this net material. Several different manufacturers make this stuff. My recommendation is don't go buy a 100-sheet roll of this. Get yourself a 5-sheet pack from a reputable brand, try it out, then make that big purchase. Let's talk about the grit range for a moment. I use 80, 180, 220, 320. If I'm staining a piece of wood, I always stop at 220 and then I sand with 240 by hand. What that does is assures me that the stain goes on there and is not blotchy or streaky. I get really vibrant color reproduction. There are only certain cases that I'll actually use 320 grit sandpaper on bare wood. Some woods absolutely look better when they're sanded up to 320. Take walnut or carina, for example. If you sand either one of those up to 320, that wood really comes alive when sanded to that level. You wipe on a coat of hard wax oil, and it really explodes when it comes to color highlights, grain highlights, especially if you're using a figured piece of wood. Absolutely beautiful sanded to 320. Anyway, what we're talking about here has nothing to do with price. It is cost versus value. You get what you pay for. Never has that been more true than with sandpaper. Leave us a comment down below and let us know how you feel about what has been talked about here today. Let us know what your methods are, what products you use, and what you would recommend. We are so interested in hearing from all of you. This is where ideas come from, you guys, is through the sharing of knowledge. I'm convinced at this point that the sandpaper that both Gio and I now use represent the top of the heap when it comes to value versus cost. That is one of our main goals here on the channel, is to use our own experience to help you guys avoid some of the pitfalls and to make some of those choices that we know you have to make if you're just now starting out. We want to make those easier. We've got tons of content planned here on the channel. How-to videos, product discussions, project ideas, tool reviews, you name it. We're going to be doing all that stuff coming up here in the future. Until then, get out in your shop and build something cool. I'll see you in the next video.